All right. So, hello. We are here with human design coach Jen, and I'm really excited to talk about human design. It's something that has always interested me, and we're going to find out more about it. So, Jen, thank you for being here. And so
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Tell me, what is human design? Like, break it down.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely the most important question. It is a self-discovery tool, most of all, and is actually a synthesis or a combination of different systems. So you have some ancient systems included, and I'm going to mention just a couple. I'm not going to go through the entire list, but it's just to give you a flavor of what it involves. So the ancient systems like the I Ching or I Ching, astrology, Kabbalah, it's a little bit more about the tree of life. And then you have more modern systems involved, like astronomy, quantum mechanics, and things like biochemistry. So it does involve mainly what people know more about is astrology, or what people come to human design from is from the astrology side of things. But it does involve a little bit more of other sign or other systems as well, right? And what it does is based on your birth time and the date and time, it actually determines your what we call the body graph, or your actual design or your human design as a whole. So based on that, essentially you have a type, and that would be like the first level. Like when people say, oh, I'm Scorpio, in the zodiac signs, then you would have like a type, and that is you could be one of 5 types. And out of that, you can then dive deeper into your body graph or your design as an experiment for human design with your authority and your strategy. So essentially how you interact with others and how you make decisions. So that essentially is what encompasses human design in a whole system that you get to experiment with, essentially, based on that.
That is awesome. Wow. Well, how did you learn all this stuff? Like, where did you learn it from? What got you interested in human design?
Yes. So I think, and like most of us human design junkies out there, we were in a self-discovery, rabbit hole, like who we are, why are we here, what's our purpose? And I think that a lot of us, when we start trying to look at what tools are out there, more than just a personality test, more of like, what am I here to do? Like, I know there's something more to life than just what I'm doing in my 9 to 5, or maybe I am happy with my 9 to 5, but I want to supplement it with something more that makes me happy. And that's when I started diving into a little bit more of spirituality. And what it got me a little bit more interested into the spirituality side is that part of differentiation, right? Like I am different than anyone else. I feel that I'm not cookie cutter. Like I am not just like everyone. Why do I feel so different? And when you look at astrology and when you look at other types of discovery tools, they dive into some depth, but there's not things or practical tools that you can experiment with or check it out. Like, how do I test this? How do I test this theory? And I think human design has given that a different level where we can look at, this is your type, and this is your strategy, and this is your authority. Now go out there and try it out and do what works, and what doesn't work, just leave it behind. And I thought that was fascinating. And even just knowing my type by itself, I just opened my eyes. I was like, what is this? How have I never heard about this before? Like, this is amazing. This is me. Like, you are describing me. How do I know more? And that's what gets most of us anyways. Once you know your type, you essentially become more addicted to knowing exactly how that applies to you today, because we have been conditioned to certain things in the past. So our life obviously we're all being told what to do, what job to get, make money, retire, and all these things. But you kind of feel like that's not for everybody. And when you start coming outside that box, then kind of with experimenting with human design kind of gets you to that level of experimentation and knowing, okay, let me test this. Does this actually work? And then you start seeing it and realizing, wow, I can just put my own flavor to my life and I don't need to follow everybody else. So I think that's really what not only got me into it, but got me to continue to use it and become, actually involved so much that I actually took classes and I went and learned everything I could about human design and bought the books and did the courses and just really got me very passionate about it.
I love it. Yes, I've always been that type of person who kind of wants to figure out more about myself because I have always felt different than most people and like didn't really fit in the box. And so my zodiac sign is Gemini. And so I'm like obsessed with finding everything about Geminis. And I did personality tests, and so then I found out about human design, and the accuracy though of like a personality test. Does it align with like your human design type? And like how accurate is the human design and even personality tests?
Yeah, for sure. And that is a very important question, because I think one of the misconceptions about human design is that it's just another personality test. But one thing about traditional personality tests is based on your perception, right? So it's how you perceive yourself or how you think others perceive you, but it's not reality. It could sometimes be blurred by society or what we think people think about us or what we will like people to think about us, but that's not how we communicate. So with human design, in a way, you're locked in because your birth date and time, it is your birth date and time. So I am telling you your type, you're locked in, right? So starting from that and, the level of accuracy they could have in terms of what centers, because reminding a little bit that when you look at your body graph, there are some centers, or they're based on the chakra system. So it's basically your chakras or your centers. In this case, there are different things that could even go deeper into that. So when you dive deep into just your type, and then you go into your basic strategy and authority, which will go into yours, you'll start to notice that we are just going an additional layer deeper into it. So then you see a different level of accuracy, because I will tell you things that you would say potentially, wow, yes, I didn't even realize I did that, but I do that. And that is where, to me, I was mind blown, because I just couldn't understand, like, how can something know about me things that I already knew, but I never really put into practice, or I never noticed that when I put them into practice, life just was easier for me. So that's something where each type in general, the 5 types that represent human design, you have manifestors, you have generators, you have manifesting generators, projectors, and reflectors. Just even the difference between those types. And when you tell someone, there's 2 ways it could go. It could go in a way where somebody goes, yes, that's absolutely me. And some could say, it sounds like me, but I do what the other types do. And to that is, yes, of course, because you grew up in a certain way, right? We grew up in a family potentially that could have been raising you in a different type, right? So you learn to adapt. We're humans. So we learn to adapt to do things potentially that we don't really like doing, but we just do them because we have to. And with the human design piece, that accuracy becomes even more clear as you start experimenting with it. So you get more of hands-on in a way that you don't really get with other personality tests or anything else that you could find out there, that I have found that you couldn't just put it into words, because then you're just kind of experimenting it from your perspective, but you're seeing whether that is a result that you're okay with or you're not okay with. And that is more in alignment to who you are, as opposed to what you think people think about you or what you think you want people to think about you, which is a completely different scenario. An example of that is Enneagram. Enneagram can change. Your Enneagram can change. And to me, it's like, well, that's not really accurate. Like, one day I could feel this way, another day I could feel this way. There's not a consistency. Whereas with human design, you could have that consistency, and you can still experiment with the other types, but you're still that type. You can still go ahead and try the other ones, and it may work for you because you may have other centers in your body graph, or you may have other things in your body graph that can help you test those things. But you are definitely going to feel more aligned and more at ease when you are practicing or experimenting with your type specifically.
Yes, I was going to bring up Enneagrams. So thank you for bringing that up really quick. Can you tell the people what Enneagrams are?
Well, I'm not an expert, so
I know.
by no means do I, but Enneagram really is based on questions that, as I was saying, is based on your perspective.
Yeah.
So how you are today or how you think you are today. So you're answering. I remember the first time I took it. I don't even remember. I think I'm a 7 or something. Like I'm a very yes, there is the extrovert piece. Absolutely. But that could be anybody sometimes, right? Like we could be on phases of our lives where we're very extroverts and then we go introverts. So why do you go introvert sometimes, right?
Right.
I can tell you in human design why sometimes. So like that is interesting because some people, I do have had actually clients that come and said, actually, when you're referring to this, you're referring like a 7 or something. And I say, oh, okay. But does it tell you a little bit more about this? So it's like a little bit of, is it the surface, right? Which is nothing wrong with that. And by no means, like anything that can help you know yourself can make your life much, much better. So I would even complement it with an Enneagram because it's almost like, it's more reassurance and validation. But I guarantee you that once you've experimented with human design for a few months, a year, maybe, your Enneagram will change because your perspective of who you are, again, is another level. And it's another level of like, wow, this is me. And this is why I am who I am. So yeah, Enneagram is based really on perspective. It's based on what you think other things about you or how you perceive yourself in society. And it's based on a number that could potentially change. And the other thing about Enneagram is, and I don't know if it's just a bad rap that it's gotten, is that I see a lot of social media. It's like the memes about like the bad things about the Enneagram, the bad things about who you are. And it's like, no, why are you focusing on that? Why are you focusing on the wrong? Where we could focus on the things we do good with, the good personality traits that come into this, and how can we embrace them so that we can do them more naturally or feel more comfortable about them in a good way. And that's one thing that I try with human design, is that we don't focus on what you're lacking, what you don't have that others have, although there is that jealousy you'll notice when you look at the types, but it's a little bit more about, let's embrace your uniqueness and your differentiation, because you are needed as much as the person next to you. We are all needed. It's just we're needed in a different way to do our thing.
Okay. Thank you for breaking that down. I know you mentioned the 5 different types. Can you just touch on each one, like what they are?
Absolutely, yes. So in the traditional human design, and to make a differentiation there, in the books and any of the initial findings of human design, they'll talk about 4. And I'm including a number 5 because I like to be inclusive. And actually my mentor and who I learned from wants everybody to feel included. And it happens, the 5th one happens to be my type. So I'm glad that my type has been included. We'll start with manifestors. So manifestors, there's only really 9% of them worldwide. There's only 9% in the population worldwide on this. And they're here to get things started. So they are the people that come up with these brilliant ideas and these brilliant things, that they just are here to really come up with those things that we need to get done. But they're not necessarily here to get them done. They're just here to enlighten us with something that has never been done before. And they're definitely, and they're all great types. I cannot stress that enough. We need manifestors for sure. Let's talk about generators. So generators are more like the 50% out there. So everybody will tell you, oh, yes, I'm a generator. I'm a generator. And you'll hear that constantly because it's 50% of the population, of course. There's a lot of them. And out of that 50%, that's when generators break into 2. So not in the traditional human design aspect, but there's 2 types of generators. So we have the pure generators. So they're here to get the things going. So the manifestor, let's say, give you an example, comes up with the idea of a new way to make coffee. Okay. And it's just this brilliant thing. And you're like, that's fantastic. And it stays there. And a generator will come say, absolutely, that's a beautiful idea. Can I do it? Right? Like I got the energy to see it through. I got the energy to make it happen. Whereas a manifesting generator is the other 35. So it should be actually, I shouldn't say 50%. We say 70% is generators, 35% is, and I'll correct that, 35% is pure generators, 35% is manifesting generators. So when you have that, then the other 35% can do multiple things at once. So the manifesting generator is more of a multi-passionate lots of energy person. So they can say to the manifestor, I not only will make the coffee for you, but I also have this other person that came up with this idea about how to shoot arrows in a very straight line. And I'm going to do both. And I can do both. And they have the energy to see through both of those things. And the other thing about manifesting generators is in the word as well, saying it, manifesting generators have a bit of a manifestor side to them too. So a manifesting generator may come up with the idea for coffee and do it themselves if they wanted to. So they have that multi-passionate, get started, entrepreneurship, almost natural, where they just come up with the idea and they go for it. They don't need somebody else's approval. They don't need somebody else's energy to be able to see it through. And that is actually my type, manifesting generators. And then we have projectors, and projectors are 20% of the population, and it's growing actually. And projectors are here to guide and manage that process. So me as a manifesting generator, I love projectors because projectors can guide me. I have so many ideas and I have so many things I want to get done. But if sometimes I need guidance, I need somebody I can look at it, say, I want to do what you're doing. I have the energy. I'm going to go get it done. The projector is here to guide us. It's like that lighthouse for us. It's like, wow, yes, we have the energy and there's our guide. And that's actually your type, Jasmine. So I will definitely dive deeper into that. And it's not, and when you said, I don't feel like I fit in anybody's, in a box. No, you don't, because you're only 20%. So imagine yourself, you're in a room of 100 people, there's only 20 of you. So it's really feeling a little bit like, this is why I'm different. I'm not like everybody else. And then you have reflectors. Reflectors are 1% of the population. They're a very small percentage, but they're super valuable as well. And they are sometimes forgotten in a way because you don't really come across them very often. I actually happen to know one, and it's to me it's fascinating. And they're here to reflect the well-being of our society. So there are more out there in the sense of, if you believe in spirituality, then it makes sense. But it's just if you're more like, I don't know about this whole woo-woo stuff. But they are here really to reflect the well-being. So they can go into a room and really feel if something is in alignment, if things are going well. They actually are able to assess the room in a way and know where things are going well and where things are not going so well. And essentially, they definitely take decisions in a different way. They need a different type of way of making decisions, but that doesn't make them any less important. And as I said, all of the types have a huge and very important play in the world. Like, I think that, without each of us, it would be really hard to function, because I don't think any of us, even though me as a manifesting generator, I could say I don't need anybody, I do, because I like to think that I have all this energy, but I got to learn how to manage it. And sometimes you do need to learn from those that don't have that much energy so that you know how to not burn out, because that's a theme you'll find in human design, that burned out. Like, you're burning out your energy and you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough energy. Why? How can I harvest this energy? And that's one way that you can learn how to be more efficient with your energy and manage it in a better way.
Got it. Okay. I'm excited. Let's learn more about my type.
For sure. Absolutely. So one thing that I do want to say, so when we go into each of the types in general as well, one more thing I want to mention is, with each of them, you have a signature on how this interacts with the world. And then also, what's your signature in terms of how you make decisions, or how you know that interaction is successful, right? Like, how did you feel like when things are going well for you and how things are not going so well for you? So just quickly, for the manifestors part of it, like those guys that are here to get things started, they are basically here interacting as initiation, right? They're initiating things, and they will know if things are going well because they're absolutely feel peace. Like they feel this peace. If things are not going so great, then they're going to feel anger. Okay, so that's one tell right away. If you are a person that gets angry easily and you're like angry with the world, possibly that. Generators and manifesting generators are here to respond. So that's their strategy. We're here to respond to the signs of the universe. Things are coming to us and we're just responding to things. And if we respond in a good way, if we listen to ourselves and we respond the right way, then we feel satisfaction. And if not, then we feel frustration. And it could turn into anger for the manifesting generators. but when the satisfaction could turn into peace, depending on what it is as well, for the manifesting generators. Now, for projectors like yourself, you are here to wait for the invitation. Your strategy is to wait for that invitation. And we'll dive deeper into that, but I wanted to just kind of generalize that is essentially your strategy. And then when that invitation is the right invitation and you accepted the right invitations, then you feel success. So whenever you walk around and you're like, I feel successful, I've successfully done something, then that means that invitation you've gotten or accepted has been the correct one for you. Otherwise, you're going to feel bitterness. Like it's almost like, why am I bitter with the world? Like, why is the world doing this to me? Why am I not being recognized for my gifts? That's probably because you're not in alignment and you're not getting the right invitations or not accepting the right invitations in this case. And then the reflectors, as I said, a little bit more out there, they're here to wait for the lunar cycle. So they work in lunar cycles, 28 days. So it's a little bit different in that sense. Their signature is here. When things are going well, they feel surprised, a really pleasant surprise. And then if they're not in the not self and just things are not going so well, then they feel disappointment because they feel a little bit like the world has just done what they thought it would do, So that's a little bit of their tell. So we can definitely, now dive more into yours, but I thought it would be great to give a brief explanation on those for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
No problem. So for the projector side, when we're talking about the projectors themselves as their strengths and the things that they're here to do. So as I mentioned earlier, you're here to guide, you're here to be that lighthouse for us. And they're even called sometimes in some of the books, administrators of the new order. Like there's this new thing coming and we need those people those humans are going to be like, you know what, this is how it's done, or this is how process happened. And they're great at managing others, and they're great at just guiding that creation, to really just show us the way. And they're known for efficiency as well. And one of the key things that is wonderful you said, you really love doing the self-development and the self-discovery is because for you, that's your uniqueness. If you know yourself, you know what your alignment is, then we seeing you in alignment is the way that you guide us, right? So you could try to force us to do something, but essentially if we don't see it in you, then absolutely you're not going to inspire anyone to do it, right? So as a projector, is very likely that you'll feel much better once you've tried something or shown something and you're very passionate about something, and then people come to you for that. They're like, I want to have what you have. And that is the beauty of a projector. You can see the big picture. It's almost like you're this eagle flying over and just looking at things, and you have this way of like that 20,000 feet above the air. You're just like able to see things that I'm not able to see because I'm down there. So you can see really how everything is working and whether the process is efficient enough. And these are just working efficiently. And that makes you magnetic in a way, right? Because once you harvest or know what it is that you do good, and you find that passion, that thing that you really want to do, you can't help it but get all those invitations, right? So sometimes a lot of people think, oh, waiting for the invitation, that sounds boring. Like I'm just going to sit here and wait for things to happen to me.
Right.
But it's interesting that that's not really the case. It's really about once you have the reason why your strategy is to wait for the invitations is because you're busy doing your own thing. You are busy working on yourself. You are busy knowing yourself and doing what you love. And then naturally you become this magnet of this, like just things that continue to come to you as, as an invitation. It could be, for example, looking for that right job. You may kind of know what you want and you may start really doing certain things and dab into certain things that you love. And then you just know what you love and you do it. And then all of a sudden you're getting all these job offers and these things and this email, all of a sudden there's a friend going, oh, hey, I know somebody that knows someone that just, I recommend it because I saw that you posted about this. And that is how naturally magnetic you are once you're doing, what you're here to do, what you're here to love. And essentially you probably somebody, and this is just, a generalization, but of course, it may align with you. You love systems. Anything that can help you learn things about yourself, you love and you dive into. So like Enneagrams and Myers personality, or any type of thing that could help you know yourself. You don't just want to like glance at it. You really want to know more because it really does give you that perspective that we need. And those systems help obviously the knowing of yourself helps. Then you can help others and guide others on how they can know themselves too. And you use those systems in your practice, in terms of whatever it is that you choose to do. Then you probably are the type of person that even recommends other people, hey, you should try this because I tried it and this is fantastic. And one thing that maybe, and a lot of the times with the clients that I get for projectors is, well, I don't really know what my gift is. Like, I have no idea, right? And I think you need to maybe follow your curiosity, because that's one thing that if you're curious about something, go and try it and go and see if that's really something that sparks something in you, because it's not until the world sees it or sees you and you're being seen and recognized for something that you're not really going to realize that this is the thing, right? So sometimes we tend to hide or think, oh, I'm really not going to look so great if I do this, or if I try this out, or maybe it's so out of my comfort zone that, I'm going to be judged for it. So I think we hold back on trying new things. And that could be essentially one of the challenges, because for projectors is, if you don't really know yourself, then that becomes even a bigger challenge, right? Because it's just more like you're just doing what everybody else is telling you to do, what society is telling you to say. So you're not living your truth. So you are essentially blocking the universe from actually bringing you what you want to be recognized for. And another thing is, because you're here to guide and manage, you feel this need to help. And sometimes that help can maybe not be helpful to you because it's not in alignment to what you should be doing.
Right.
So it's almost like that manifestor example comes up with this beautiful innovation. And you're sitting there thinking, well, I'll help you. I'll help you get it done. I'll help you get this new coffee system in. But you shouldn't, because you don't really want to be recognized for that at the end. So when you look at it later on, you're burnt out. You've put all your energy and effort on something that is not really your passion. It's just that because you wanted to help that manifestor, then you essentially used your energy in a different way. The energy that you do have, you didn't efficiently manage it, right? Whereas you are here more to guide us, in a sense. You're here to maybe help that generator do the process, and the generator can come to you and say, how can I efficiently do this? Or how can I waste less energy? And you're like, I'm the energy queen. I'm the efficiency queen. I can show you how to get it done faster. And that's a better use of your time than somebody actually telling you got to do the process from A to B, from A to Z. You can say, I can help you from A to B because that's my expertise and this is what I love to do. You do the rest. And it's more of that delegating that is tough. It's a challenge for a projector because you definitely want to help, but you need to, and again, it goes back to knowing yourself. If you know yourself, you know what you're good at, what your strengths are, then essentially you don't get in this rabbit hole of burning out, because you're essentially knowing what your boundaries are and where to set those boundaries. So you're not being used for the things that you're not here to do. And I guess another challenge with that is that self-worth, right? Because sometimes it's really hard to say no. And it's really hard to say, oh, I'm just not worth for this. Like, I have no energy. This is not what I'm meant to do. People are not seeing me for who I am. So we feel like we're living on this mask of like, supposed to be doing this job, but I don't really want to do it. I'm meant to do something else. And we're stuck on that. And that really doesn't help our self-worth in terms of really doing what we love and really showing our true colors. So it's just a little bit of change of perspective when you're trying to say yes to things and no to things. Is sometimes saying no to certain things can open doors to more yeses, because you are essentially allocating more energy to the things that you want to do more of, which can sometimes, and again, it's a little bit of it, I'm just going through challenges right now for this, is that you're judging yourself for being lazy. Because it's almost like, why can't you do that? Like, you have time in your calendar. Why can't you do it? And it's not really about sometimes the time. Sometimes you have the time, but it is really about trying to distribute that energy in a way that that time is efficient to you and really is allowing for the things that you want to do. So you're not really want to work on this coffee project. You're really just going to guide the generator for an hour. And that's the end. The rest of the time, you're going to allocate it on the things that you love more, right? Which is maybe coaching other people, which is maybe you're very good at painting. So you're going to go paint, And that's what does it, it's a better use of your energy. But at the end of the day, we have to stop judging ourselves for looking like we're lazy because we're not helping with this coffee project now that I keep talking about. That it must be an amazing coffee, but but it's just, it's one of those things where we just need to, again, that really perception. Interestingly enough, the other perception that people may have about a projector is that they're bossy because they know what they want. They are here to, or they're needy, or, that they're all these things because they want to control. And it makes sense because, trust me, all projectors know. They know things. They can see from above. They know what's really efficient. You can see the generator wasting their energy trying to get the project in, but you can tell right away. You can just give them one tip, and that one tip will shave off an hour of their day. Like, come on, I'm going to give you this tip and you can get this done in 15 minutes instead of an hour. But sometimes the generator is looking at you like, I don't know what you're saying. You're too bossy. Like, don't give me tips. Don't tell me what to do. You're a know-it-all. And the projector is trying to like, but I know it all. I know better than you. And, it is a bit of a hard thing, to see because you can see that it can be solved. So I think that one thing that we have to be careful with, and all the types, this is not just projectors, is to, when some opinion is needed, then it's asked for, then it's welcome. But if the opinion is not asked for, then probably might not be welcomed, right? So it's better for you to get that invitation. And I'm using air quotes on this, because it's an invitation at that point of the generator saying, Jasmine, I think you may be able to help me with something, and maybe can I do this faster? And then you go, yes, I can help you. It can be done in 15 minutes instead of an hour, and it's better received. So I think that's the challenge for the projector, that they want to just tell you, but sometimes they need to wait for somebody to say, can you help me? Right. And again, you're going to then feel rewarded because you're basically being used for what you love to do, which is help others. But at the same time, it's about your strength, which is efficiency in this case. So it's a little bit of this. So I don't know if you have maybe any questions with the challenge piece. I don't know if there's anything that's popped yet.
Yeah. So I've always been the light. I did some Akashic Records reading. I don't know if you heard about Akashic Records, but my record said I was the light. That definitely, when you said guide, the projector's guide, and like shelve away, like that definitely resonated with me. And yes, I do love to know myself and do all these different things to get to know myself. And yeah, those challenges definitely hit it. You hit it right on the head. And then when you talked about welcoming the invitation, or like waiting for the invitation. So if I'm not receiving any invitations, that means that I'm not in alignment.
Yes. Or it's not the right time.
Or it's not the right time.
Because sometimes we feel, especially nowadays, everything is instant. So we get everything delivered to our house. We're almost we want the universe to deliver to us almost like Amazon Prime. And I think that we need to be careful with that, because there is definitely things where we're trying to force something that is not supposed to come quite yet. You're not ready for it. And I think that's when it helps for projectors to take that as a sign of, I need to work more on me. I need to work more on what I do. And I need to harvest more of that good energy that I already have, and keep focusing and keep building, because they'll come. So it's almost like I keep building this wonderful castle, because I know all of these people are coming and this beautiful dinner will happen. It's just that I got to be ready for it. So maybe you may be thinking that you're going to be hosting a dinner for 20 and you're preparing for that. And you are saying, why can't I get them? I want to get this 20 people to sign up for my dinner. And it just keeps not happening. Like, why am I not getting this? Mm-hmm. And it isn't because you needed to host for 20, it was for 100, but you're not ready yet. So it's a little bit like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep working on this. You keep working on maybe better recipes or maybe other things, and you keep working on organizing it, on how can you make it efficient so that your guests feel more welcome when they show up. And as you're working on this, you get noticed. You get noticed on these things, and you are almost like then becoming more magnetic. And then the universe says, okay, she's ready. So I'm now going to send her the 100 invitations as opposed to the 20 people that you wanted. And you almost realize like, oh, wow, took me an extra 6 months, but guess what? I'm more fulfilled and I feel more success, because that's your and how you know that your strategy has worked. And it is that you feel like, I feel successful. I feel that this dinner has been successful, as opposed to, I'm bitter because only 10 people showed up and I don't know why only 10 people showed up. And
Right.
I made it happen when it didn't have to happen and only really 10 showed up. So it's kind of having that reflection on things don't have to be instant, and invitations don't have to be. And a little bit more about invitations that might be very helpful is to understand that invitations can happen naturally, but also you don't have to wait for things to happen too. If there's something it's in your heart and and it's something that nobody else is coming to you about, is maybe a job nobody's ever created, and you have it in your heart that you want to do that, then you go for it and things will align. But if you're feeling resistance, or if you're feeling that bitterness, that's your signpost telling you, whoa, stop, right? Like, let's internalize this. What's happening? Do maybe an audit on your life and check what it is that you're doing that it might not be in alignment with what you want to be. Because one thing that you'll notice is you want to be recognized and seen for things you love, because you are magnetic either way. So that's one thing you got to be careful with. So if, let's say, you do go into this coffee project and you do a good job and you don't burn out, let's say you did a really good job, you went from A to Z, and this manifestor goes, absolutely amazing, great job, Jasmine. And they start referring you to all of these other manifestors, and they're all coming to you, and you end up doing all these projects month after month. And you're like, this is not what I want to do. This is not the type of invitation. So you start feeling the burned out, and you start feeling you're being recognized for the things you don't want to be recognized for. You're going to get the invitations. It's just the wrong invitations. You're getting the wrong invitations because you are showing a side of you that is more about pleasing people and not about pleasing what you want at the end of the day. So you have to you do have to be careful, because as many would know about law of attraction, is we will attract the things, but just make sure those things are really in alignment with what you want at the end, and keep checking in. There's nothing wrong with revising your list, revising what it is your life is looking like today. And there's no shame on going back and say, actually, I did this project, it's not really it. And then you stop accepting the invitations so that you make room for better invitations in a way. So that's something to really be mindful of, for sure.
Okay, awesome. How can I use my projector type like in business? So what's like what's a career or something that a projector would have?
It can be any. The beautiful thing about this, and one thing is perfect segue for us to go into your authority. So I'll go like very, very high level on this, in terms of each type has a strategy like we talked about. Then they have like that good tell, and then that not self, like the good, signature, like, yes, things went great. This is how I feel. If I'm feeling the other way, then I'm probably not going in the right direction. But then the question is, how do I make the right decisions now? Right? Like, based on this, like, how do I know? So how do I get that job? How do I start that business that I really wanted to? How do I know if this is the right thing for me before I get the anger, before I get the bitterness, before I get the disappointment? So I think, and specifically for you, and we're going to focus on you, but anybody can look up their authorities. It's really easy to look up. But, and this is another thing as to why I think you are very unique, Jasmine. I'll say that with great honor, because I would say you are my first authority that is called self-projected. So self-projectors or self-projected authorities only really 2.9% of the population. So it's only projectors that can have this. And out of the 20%, only 2.9 can be self-projected. Wow. So it's a very rare or uncommon, I would say, authority. And the beautiful thing about this authority is that your internal GPS. So think of authority as you're trying to drive somewhere. You kind of know where you want to go. You put it into your GPS, and your GPS is telling you where to go. Turn right, turn left. You just follow it. You trust it, right? It's something where you trust. If you live in a city that is trustworthy with your GPS, yes, you follow it to a T. But sometimes we don't have the luxury of that GPS, or we don't have the signal, or we just forget how to listen to it. So we have that internal GPS in us, and all of us have that authority on how we make those decisions. So for you, it's called self-projected, because when you look at your body graph, you have your throat and your G center, or the identity center, connected. And those are your two centers that are lit up or are defined as that, as we say, or centered, or defined. And what that says is that for you to make decisions, you have to let yourself talk out loud. So you're the type of person that if you're quiet and you don't really talk about your ideas, or if you don't really say what you want, you're not going to know for sure if that's what you want. So you may be struggling with something. Let's say you're trying to come up with a new business and you have it in your heart that you want to, but you don't really know exactly what you want to create. Mm-hmm. Just talk by yourself or to a trusted friend. You want to let your voice come out, because your voice will have this tone and will have this way of telling your body, this is what I want, because it's your identity center talking to it and saying, I know what I want. I'm not only confident about who I am, and I have this ease about myself of knowing what I am and who I am and why I'm here. I need to talk it out so that I can hear myself, so that I can hear others can hear me. So self-projected authorities should talk. The beautiful thing about this is that you can do it by yourself or you can do it with somebody else. There's advantages to do it with somebody else, is that they can talk back at you and reflect it back at you, and you can hear it better sometimes, because it's almost like if we've been conditioned our entire life to, in your case, let's say you grew up thinking that you need to listen to your gut, and your gut will tell you, and you're quietly sitting there listening to somebody else tell you what to do. Right. And you're supposed to listen to your gut, and you're almost like, that's not working. It's not working for me. Why? Yeah. And that is why, because you need to talk. So for me, my gut, I have that. So like when people say, follow your gut, they're talking to me, and I'm only that, a percentage of the population, right? But I'm the majority. And that's why society talks about this, because the majority of society has that defined. So they feel that that is the way that decisions should be made. So we all are trying to be fit into this box where we're all supposed to be making decisions based on our gut feeling, but there's not gut feeling for you in this case. You don't have that defined. So it for you is talk it out loud. Your clarity will come through your voice. If you can't tune into that voice, if you're like, well, I do talk, but sometimes it doesn't give clarity to me, have somebody else listen to it and tell you what they heard, not give their opinion, just tell you what they heard, and they may give you that clarity as well. Another way is doing voice notes. So you listen to yourself later on. You may even listen to a recording you did before, and you're like, you get an idea all of a sudden, and you're like, wow, I said that so many times, so now I've heard myself say it. It makes a lot more sense. Because you only have those two centers defined out of 9 that you could possibly have, you have a lot of what we call openness. So you're easily influenced by others. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing, right? So we have to be kind of careful with that. Yeah. But as I said, let's focus on the good about it. The good about this is that you can feel what others feel. You can sense what others are sensing. You can get the ideas that others are trying to influence on you, which is a good thing, because then you can see their perspective. You can kind of be like, I understand I can feel what you're feeling, but it's not my feeling. So when it becomes a challenge is because sometimes you may be very excited about something, but it's not your excitement. It's somebody else's excitement getting to you. So you have to be a little bit careful with that. Or you may be nervous or anxious about something. You're like, there's something going on. I'm so anxious. I'm not sure why. Check who's around you, because that might be influencing you on that state of being. So anytime you have an emotional extreme of some sort, good or bad, it could be something where you need to have time alone, when you need to say, you know what, I need a few minutes by myself right now. I need to talk about this with myself. And then just have a self-talk, because essentially that's the way you can sort of correct yourself or say, you know what, let me talk out loud with me. And it's like, oh, Jasmine, you're smart. You got this. Like, because you listen, you're like, duh. And it's almost like and you can test this for small stuff. Like when you go to a restaurant, there's a ton of people around you and you're all making their orders, you're all trying to figure out like what to eat. And you're almost like all over the place. This menu has so many pages. I have no idea what to order. And you're feeling like you want everything because now I'm next to you and hello, I love everything and I have multi-passionate on everything. So, but I know what I want, right? So I might go, oh, okay, well, my gut immediately tells me I want pasta. And you are next to me and you're like, yeah, pasta sounds good. But then you see the person next to you is going, I want soup. And you're like, but now I feel like soup. So you are feeling this conflicted thing where you are not eating what you want to eat because you are conflicted. So I would say something as simple as that. Test it out, experiment with the design that you have and talk it out loud. So almost grab the menu and say, okay, so Jen, I was thinking that I was going to order this, and you start talking about it and you're like, oh, I definitely want pasta because you just know it. Like your voice told you, the way that you're going to talk about the pasta, you're going to spend a few more minutes talking about the pasta and how this pasta sounds amazing. And I probably will tell you, in this dinner that we're having, Jasmine, you should get the pasta. You spent a little bit more time talking about this pasta, so you should probably get the pasta. And that essentially is the way that you make decisions. It's just much easier, which it seems, seeing you nod is like, yeah, that's me. But it's funny because for me, that would be crazy. Like for me, like me talking about it, it would be like, that doesn't make any difference to me because I already got like an internal GPS that just kind of goes on and off. And I just kind of know now. And it's quick. For me, it's like a quick gut thing. Like I just know. And even within generators, they are sacral defined, only sacral defined. We may have different ways that we feel that GPS, right? So everybody has a unique way of thinking about it or feeling about it. But the beautiful thing about you is even with your self-projected way of making the decision, sometimes even talking about your decision can surprise you because you're like, wow, I've been thinking about this for weeks, but now that I've actually talked to myself about it, how did I not have that clarity before? Like, how come I didn't make this decision earlier? Well, probably you didn't talk about it to yourself. You only thought about it. You wrote it down. You maybe put a post-it, but you never said it out loud. And then all of a sudden, once you said it out loud, or when you're telling your friends about it, they can see that energy coming out of that passion that you have for something. And that's when they can see, oh, wow, yeah, that's a business decision you should make. Absolutely. Hearing you say it gets me inspired to do it. So that's probably the right way to do it. So
yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. This is so me. Okay. So like when I'm struggling with the decision, or even if I have an idea or something, I have to talk it out to somebody. And like, this person could just be listening, doesn't have to say a thing. And I'll just be talking and explaining. And then all of a sudden, a light bulb. And I'm just like, wait a minute, I figured this out already. I don't even need your input or anything. I got it. So that is really cool to know. That's self-projected, and I'm very rare projector.
Yes. And that's one thing, back to your question about the accuracy of it. I can't make that up. Like, there's no way to make that up. Like, in terms of, I don't, I hadn't known you before, us, this conversation, but I'm thinking like, it's so not like uncommon. Like, you don't see that very often. And a lot of people won't tell you that that's how they come to decisions very often, because a lot of people do like pros and cons list, or they may say to you, I just know. Okay, good that you just know. But that's the beautiful thing about diving deeper into your human design, is you can go into those layers and say, okay, like, let me test this out, right? And that's the thing where even you can then reflect on the decisions that you've made that were completely wrong, because as you're saying it out loud, you're like, that sounds so bad. Why did I do that? And it is a little bit like, and again, like the key thing with for you specifically, because you have the two centers, but also anybody that has any open centers, you are easily influenced by the outside. So other people being around you is very important. It's very important. It's not something that a lot of people think like, oh, I feel I'm feeling this way. It's so weird when I'm around you. There's nothing weird about it. You're feeling what you're feeling. It is valid. Your feelings are valid. What you're going through is valid. And that's another thing that is that validation of there's a reason why you're overwhelmed. There's a reason why you're feeling, overwhelmed with somebody else. It's coming to you with some heavy stuff, right? Because they might be dealing with something heavy in their own life, or they may be very excited and you're all of a sudden super excited about something, but that person walks away from you and you're like, I don't feel as excited right now about this camping trip. And I really don't want to do it. And then now you're talking to yourself about it and you're like, no, I don't want to go on this camping trip. So you do have to I wouldn't say rely on that tested experiment. So if anything about anything that we've talked about today is with human design is try it, experiment with it, because that's the best way that you can get that validation, whether that something is working for you or that's something that is not working for you. Because if, let's say, you've been conditioned to make decisions based on your gut feeling and that's how you feel good about it and that's how it works for you, I doubt it, but you could try it. But it's for you to experiment, right? It's not me as a coach. I'm not going to tell you this is how you should do it, but it's more about test it, try it on your own way, because nobody's alike. No, we're not the same. So there's no way I could tell you how it would feel. There's no way I would tell you how it's supposed to be. As soon as you try it and you test it yourself, then you're definitely going to get that GPS to tell you to turn right or left the right way. And it's all not really focusing about that destination, but knowing and trusting that your GPS will get you there based on your self-projected authority. In this case, is your voice. That is definitely the way that you should, and I say should, but it's really no, you could test that is really the way for you to make decisions. And that's the way that I would recommend that you try it out, because it's definitely, as you said, it does help you right now. So I don't really have to convince you. But if you were somebody that has never tried it before, or maybe somebody that was shy, right? Like wouldn't want to because they're being conditioned to not talk about themselves or not talk about their ideas or being suppressed about it. Maybe one of your listeners is a self-projected projector, and they may go, oh, I was told not to speak about my ideas or not to tell anybody. Well, you don't have to tell anyone. You can tell yourself, right? You can speak to yourself, go in the mirror and talk about it and realize, whoa, like, okay, but you can test it. I don't have to tell you that it works. You'll see it for yourself. And that's the validation that I like about this.
Yes. And I've always kind of felt bad, I guess, when I have to like call people like family or to talk through things, because they're like, Jasmine, why can't you figure this out yourself? Like, why are you calling me? And I'm just like, well, I need to like talk about it. Like, I need to talk to you about it. And this is like amazing finding this out. Like, because I was feeling like, maybe, man, do I always need to call somebody? Or do I always need to like talk about it? But yes, I really do. Because it makes me feel better and it makes me kind of just work things out so I can be efficient. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
Awesome. Is there anything else I need to know about projectors?
Oh, I mean, we could go for another hour if you wanted me to about projectors. I think the one thing that I would say as a takeaway for all projectors is your environment is super important. So surrounding yourself with the people that give you the energy that you want to be is the best thing. And there's always in self-development and anyone that, would like to get you into any type of self-discovery will tell you that you need to surround yourself with the people that you want to be, right? Because you're the average of those people. That's super true about projectors because you are very open. So your aura is very open and absorbing. So you're absorbing a lot of the energy, which makes you very empathetic. Like you can actually have empathy and you understand a little bit more about us. And you can see me, what I'm seeing others. Like you can see me, what others don't see, or maybe I don't see in myself, which is a beautiful thing for any projector, because I wouldn't say that most of my clients that are projectors are people that already are embracing their projector side in the sense of they're either a coach or there is somebody that manages people and they love doing this, right? So they are naturally driven. But the reason why I say it can be any career, because it really is about whatever it is that they love to do, they're going to be an inspiration for it. But it definitely has to be surrounding in the right environment, so you can thrive in the right environment. So if you want to be healthier, you really definitely want to be around those people that eat healthier, that exercise, that do the things. If you really want to be, let's say you want to be more spontaneous and make more spontaneous decisions, and surround with people that are not afraid to take risks, and you can kind of get that energy from them that, okay, well, we'll just go on a trip this weekend. I don't know where we're going. We'll just pack. Okay. But it's okay to be absorbing that, because that's what you want to try out. Right. And that's the thing, that you're very gifted when it comes to intellect and people around you in the social aspect. So you want to embrace that. You want to definitely make sure that you are then learning from, people that are more like, and I would say emotionally healthy in a way, right? They're not trying to bring you down. They're not trying to, pull you down on your success, because that's when that bitterness is going to come in. You're going to feel a little bit like it just, everything is against you. You're just almost like not wanting it, whatever bitterness feels for you, right? Because everybody could say, well, bitterness feels a certain way. To me, just identify what that feels like. So I identify what success feels like for you. So making a list of the things that you've done in the past that you consider successful, that you consider that, you've been successful at, look at that list, because then it's the tell signs of the things that you love to do, the gifts that you like, your strengths, and the things that you maybe felt like the world was against you, or you were bitter against the world, or bitter with the world, I guess. Then look at those and realize, okay, what can I learn from them so that I can make them a success next time, right? That's huge. And it definitely, there's nothing wrong with saying no, with setting your boundaries. There's nothing wrong with wanting time alone, because again, in that example that I was giving you about wanting to have some time alone and going and reflecting on your thoughts in your voice, it's huge, because you sit with yourself. There's nobody else to influence that in you. And anytime that you're pushing, or you find that you're pushing yourself on something, or you're forcing yourself on some, your opinion on someone else, or maybe because you are smart, but then somebody else might not see it yet, and you're trying to force into it, you may feel like you're burning out, because you're almost like, oh, I can't do this. And just try to make sure that is something that you are more aware of, in terms of what are those things that maybe you have to back up a little bit or back off from it, because you don't want to waste your energy on things that are just not ready for you yet. And sleep is super important for projectors. Definitely, you do want to recover. Your energy is, in traditional human design, you're a non-energy type, but I don't like to say non-energy, because you do have energy. It's just more about the energy that you have. It's more like high premium gas, like it's really efficient. So you want to make sure you're not going to just take a road trip on this. You maybe want to shorten the trips. You're going to get to that destination, but you're going to get there more efficiently. And you're maybe going to use less gas than I would use. Okay. So it's a little bit, that another thing would be to, if you're able to, maybe not for yourself, but like, or for yourself, but just in general for projectors, if they have a 9-to-5 job, or if they have different jobs, to make sure, if they can, to break them down a little bit. Don't work more than 3 hours a day, or unless it's something you absolutely have to do. But if you're able to take breaks as much as you can, because that is absolutely beneficial to reset that energy and refuel, for sure. And I would say for all types, that's very important. But I think for projectors, it's definitely very, very useful to make sure you do this, and not hiding. So Jasmine, I mean, I'm not like, for you, like you're definitely a beautiful soul that shows up and is being seen and loved and recognized. But some people are not, and projectors are hiding. They're hiding their gift, and they're hiding that thing that they have. So if you hide, or there's something you're not showing us, we're missing out, for sure.
Okay. I loved all that information, and it's so me. And I'm so excited. I'm really happy to just know more about myself. So how can we learn more about you, and tell us about your coaching? what kind of things you have like going on that we can get involved in.
Yeah, for sure. So I pretty much live on Instagram. So that's my main and only platform. Even though I'm a manifesting generator, I have learned quite easily that I can burn out too. So I try to just keep it to one platform right now. So mainly on Instagram, I currently posting more educational side of human design for people to learn more about human design, what it is. Because there's a lot of information out there that you can go to Google, you can, what is my human design type? And you can get that for free as to like generally speaking, what your type is, and strategy and authority. But I think that it's quite helpful to have a little bit more of an insight on each one. So as much as I can, I do try to do that part of the education for human design. And currently I offer human design readings, and in 2 levels. So the initial level, which is what we did today, is very, introductory, is for somebody that has no idea what human design is and essentially would like to know more. Then the next level is for people that already know what human design is, they know their type, and they want to maybe go a little deeper into this. So there's different layers to it, but essentially we can focus on the planets and how those planets are influencing your human design type. There's a specific things that, for example, your sun is your personality. So that's 70% of who you are. It's a theme in your life, for example. So we can focus on a session on your sun and your earth, and how does that play out on the theme on your life, and your centers, what you have defined or opened or undefined, and how that influence you today. And essentially from that, we walk away. So the sessions are an hour. And then essentially after the hour session, where we go over your chart and a specific areas that you would like to focus on, then essentially you walk away with some tools or how you maybe can implement that or try it out on your own and essentially learn from it. Some of my clients may come to me with their specific requests. So for example, I have a client that would say, I would like to know how I can manifest more with my human design. So we focus on manifestation. I would like to focus more on how to make decisions. So a little bit like we did today with you. Let's say you say to me, I do want to align way more with my self-projected side. How do I make that happen? What else can I look at that could help me make decisions? Then we can definitely dive deeper into that. So it really depends. So with the coaching piece, even if you walk away with the basic today, like what you did today, it's a foundation. And I would say if you were to experiment with just what we talked today, you definitely can make huge changes in your life because you have that self-discovery. And I definitely don't make the sessions in a way that you absolutely need to have a new session with me. It's just more about, I'll give you the foundation for sure to try it out yourself and also, absolutely change your life. Because even just knowing your type, knowing your strategy, and knowing your authority is like this secret sauce. Like you definitely want to make sure you know those things and you start experimenting with it in your life to truly find that alignment with your energy that will help you feel more like things are at ease, as opposed to just trying to fight it and trying to fix into something and trying to figure things out on your own the hard way. And then the additional sessions are very specific to specific things, but it definitely are helpful, of course, and definitely are for those of us like myself that would just like to dive deeper and just make sure that we're looking at all of it, because there's definitely many, many layers to your design.
Yes, I will definitely am thinking about doing like another session because I just like want to know more about, myself. So how we would connect with you is via Instagram. You've got your link in the bio and find out everything that we need to know. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. You go there and then you can send me a DM if you have questions. Definitely I'm not a shy person by any means. And I definitely have the energy to answer them. And definitely, it's a little bit about, even if you were to try it on your own and try to see and look it up, of course, absolutely. And the basics are posted on my Instagram too. So even if somebody wanted to just read over and see a little bit more, if that is something that they're interested in, absolutely. You can do that or just book a session directly. Either way, it's definitely welcomed.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for this interview and talking about human design. And I got to know more about me, and I always love that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I absolutely love it. And I absolutely love your energy. And, I have a thing for projectors where it's so amazing. You're here to guide us. So you definitely have that energy and you're doing what you love. And it's so wonderful that you are not only sharing with the world your design, but it's amazing because you are definitely showing us the importance of self-discovery. And I think that's huge, in any level, whatever it is that people choose to do. You're living it. So it's wonderful to see.
Thank you.